How are you guys doing so far? Are you guys all blessed? Yeah, yeah. The theme of this conference I heard, Thy Kingdom Come. Yeah, what a beautiful Thy Kingdom Come. And this is the place where Spirit will fill all of us in this place, even outside of this room, and He will continue to do His work. Yeah, so for today, I'm sure you have your own reason why you are here, because our title is, as you see here, it's not an easy topic, but we all want it. We all want the rebuilding and healing our relationship, right? One or the other. Even if it's adults who are sitting here, probably you can think about your own relationship in the past and the children, or most of you are young adults. How many of you guys are under 18? None. Oh, you're under 18? All right. So how old are you, if I may ask? 16. Wonderful. This will help you to build healthy relationship, and I hope that this will be the session that can help you understand you, your parents, and relationship to come. Right? Isn't that amazing? So time is keep passing, so I have to continue. So the initial maybe it's like about a half of information will be more on understanding about what we are experiencing in our family and school, even at workplace, so that we can understand a little bit more of where we are at today, and then how we can go and move forward. So why don't we begin? So how many of you been heard about attachment theory? Oh wow, okay, some of you. So attachment theory is the one of the framework that we use in psychology, especially to understand my relationship with one another. Probably there's some people who are experiencing in a more of a secure way of a building relationship because they have or they experience secure relationship with their own caregivers in the past. And then some people are experiencing with the insecure. So insecure relationship is comes with all other area. Anxious, if you see or yourself or experiencing in the partner or significance or even friends are a little bit more clinging, always checking on you. Where are you? What are you doing? Always a fear of being alone is a more of anxious type of attachments. And then I'll go, and again, today our time doesn't allow. I'm sorry, because I had to push this. Here we go. So that I don't go over the time. So people who are always checking, right? So which means we had a little bit of a difficulties with our caregivers that we are always. If you remember when you were young, you're going to the school or even preschool, if you are parents, your children always have a hard time to go to school alone. Or at the entrance of the school that they're always crying and clinging is more of an anxious type. They don't want to be alone and constantly reassure. And then some of the partners, maybe you experience, do you love me? Yes, I do. And then turn around, do you love me? And they're constantly checking to receive assurance that your partner or significance love you. Avoidance attachment is very difficult to express your own emotion. This is a little bit different from the cultural, the value and the beliefs. Oftentimes, Asian culture, including the Vietnamese culture, that we are not encouraged to express our own feelings and our thoughts with our parents, especially at home. You have to deal with yourself. If you are sharing your feelings and your thoughts honestly, and sometimes it's kind of dishonoring your parents. And this is very strongly tied into the stigma on mental health as well. Why our parents, our children are not being able to seek help when they need it. Okay? It's again related to the cultural parts, but at the same time, just in general, when we are not welcome or more criticized of our feelings and our thoughts or signs of or view as a signs of weaknesses, then we will hold internally. Oftentimes people are experience this avoidance or anxious type of attachment. We exhibit it through our body a lot, right? So going into the social setting, we feel very anxious, or talking to or meeting new people make us, our body is just sweating and all that. So disorganized is one of the insecure attachments that is very, very chronic, that we see is a lot of trauma from their home and their relationship in the past. Now is engaged in all the sense of worth is very low, your self-esteem, and fear of rejection. Also, sometimes we see that people who have not being able to control their anger and frustration and violence is often comes with a disorganized attachment. But the key factor that we needed to understand, all this attachment style that where we grew up, now we are unknowingly, it's not intentional, but that's what we are familiar with, so that we are familiar with those insecure attachment with our friends and boyfriend and girlfriends. It's just we have learned in that way, right? But where it came from, that we are having this type of issues in a relationship or even decision making every day. So according to the Daniel Siegel, he's a neuroscientist and a psychiatrist, still practicing and teaching at UCLA. With based on the attachment theory, he actually came up with those key factors that what all our humans and our children especially need. But think about it this, okay? When the child was born, the first 3 years is very, very important years. The reason why it is that our brain, the size of our brain, our kids are born, are the same. Within the 2-3 months, same size as your mom and dad's brain, like adult size. The function of a brain, though, is not fully developed. You cannot communicate with a 3 years old in a meaningful way. You cannot reason with a 2 years old, right? The reason is their brain is not fully developed. But the way God created our body and our brain, that still we needed to survive. So our right brain is like almost over 90% relying on our own protection and survival using our senses. So when kids are born and they're 100% relying on their parents or caregivers, but our parents unknowingly is not paying attention and protect, then they automatically receive and ingrain in their body and their brain that I am not safe. For example, I'm terrified that I'm hungry, for example. I'm hungry, so kids are crying. If parents are not paying attention and feeding them, and suddenly they are developing, is unsafe. And constantly parents are fighting and yelling and throwing things. It's due to our own issues, but kids cannot understand, oh, my mom and dad are very stressful. Things are very tough. They have no reason, but they only hear the sounds of loud noises, yelling and scream. Suddenly, they believe that, again, internally, that I am not safe. And also, our children are up to the 3 years old without reasoning that they wanted it to be seen by you, an adult, right? If they are crying, they want you to see and pay attention to. And instead of, based on the result-oriented Asian culture, but they wanted it to be seen that what they're doing. That's what you see a lot if you are a teacher at school, and then preschool especially. They always say, look at me what I did. Mom, look at this. But what do we usually do, our parents? Okay, just go away. I'm tired. Just pushing them away, right? So suddenly they feel the inside they are not important. And then whatever the reason, it could be the room temperature or other senses, that they are very uncomfortable. That's when they are relying on us to pay attention and soothe them. It's okay. It's just the temperature of the room. I will turn on the fan or AC, right? So we're kind of comforting them. But instead, we're just stop crying. And sometimes some parents, unfortunately, kick them and throwing things at them in order for them to, or closing the door and leave the room. So our children doesn't know how to be comforted and soothed when they are in a, difficult and then um, uncomfortable situation. And eventually, the people or caregiver that they automatically, innately believe that they are the one who will protect me, provide me, soothe me, are more become they are more become a threat to them. My parents is not safe enough to be near. My parents will not gonna protect me when I share my difficulties. So eventually it will become innate beliefs that I'm not important. So this is secure attachments, that the way we're working is, more they understand after age 3 that through this relationship and a healthier relationship, that we wanted to give them more of a life satisfaction. Again, adults are not perfect. Your parents are not perfect. We are not perfect. But with this understanding and see and then comforting them so that we can give them the tool how to manage and regulate when they have some difficulties, and also find the way to get help. So more importantly, we don't want that how can I say, the incorrect view of all these senses, more of a survival, can develop to become who they are. It's not because they are not enough that parents are not paying attention and protect them. It's just the circumstances, and our parents are going through their own life. It is not about you and me, that it was more of situational and circumstances. And then, we're going to talk about it a little bit more. So the identity is not based on how we grew up with or how we receive a parenting from our parents, so that we can continue to develop more healthier relationship with one another, not based on our past experience with our caregivers. So not only that, now is the choices that we're making is more with healthier, that what could be the better way to use my gift and my skill to serve others, right? So even academic and career choice can be a lot healthier. All right, then I want you to think about it. How you become who you are today. You are not just suddenly become who you are. Like, this is a kind of $1,000,000 question always. So I don't know if I'm asking you. So describe to me who you are. I don't know how you will describe. But think about it, how you became who you are today, how your mind is formed, the way you view about yourself and view about others is all from the hour past. Your family dynamics, even culture that is actually affecting the way we view about ourselves, following our duty. If I'm not fulfilled my duty and responsibility, then now I'm not contributing to our community. It's a part of the cultural value in our society, especially this digital age. Everything is about you. How can I promote it myself so that people can follow me more, pay attention more, and give me more information through the social media? Why Oak Hill Foundation followers only, less than 50, but mukbang people are millions? Because nowadays, you have to create and promote it yourself so that people can follow, give you the validation. And so all these things together form in your mind the way you view and believes about yourself. It's not only your family, through your education, through our culture and social norm. No wonder our young generations, the biggest struggle that they have is fitting in. Where can they belong? Right? So this is all becoming a part of our identity development as well. But one thing that what we wanted to understand as well, especially in Asian culture, I am Gen X. How many of you guys are identify yourself as a Gen X? Oh, millennials? Okay. Gen Z? Yeah, right? Um, but my generation, I will just talk about me. I am Korean immigrant here. My parents, again, we're going to do a little bit more. This generational trauma is very, very deeply rooted in our culture and our family system, how we use our community and the relationship to become our own safety. Because this generational trauma, again, I will, due to the time that I will bring it up a little bit more, this generational trauma is what our parents went through. Again, my parents went through or descendants of the Korean War. Again, Korea is very developed. Everybody's crazy about K-pop, BTS, Blackpink, or I don't know these days who's more popular, and all the Korean dramas, right? But my parent generation is actually were directly related to the Korean War. And my grandparents were actually a victim of the Korean War and colonization by Japanese or Japan, right? So that generations of a trauma came to my family system, the way my parents was raising me, because they don't want me to go through that again. So that everything that the way they try to protect and provide for me to be away from that trauma. But unfortunately, that trauma was already within their parenting, the way they are communicating with me, the way they interact with me. Again, it's accumulated over time. Right? So again, I will share a little bit more later too. So, and then transfer in our generation. So now, unknowingly and unintentionally, we were also part of that, the trauma, impacted by that trauma of our parents. And often it manifested in anxiety. My mom was very, very anxious. If you ever met my mom was very strong and then very work hard and then doing it. But people see and view my mom as a very strong woman, but based on her anxiety. She doesn't want her children, including me, to go through the poverty due to the Korean War. My mom doesn't want me to grow up in uneducated because I'm a woman. Right? All those things are based on what she experienced in anxiety. She wanted to provide everything for me, everything that what she could. When things are tough, when things are going in a hard time, yesterday I heard we just came from another conference. One of the participants had a consultation with me that one of the Korean immigrant working very hard and pastor's wife and finally got a job after all those education. She was upper 50 and got a job. And after 3 years of working, that she got fired. And she was just hoping that this job will give her some hope for her retirement and her kids' education and all. And suddenly this was taken away. She couldn't bear that despair that she was experiencing. Suddenly, there's no more hope. The hopelessness, she took her life. Sometimes this depression is that serious. She has, the beautiful children. husband, and church support. But the pain that she was experiencing, unbearable. It's not only just work is not going well. It's not just because there's no support. It's just generation after generation. This was the hope that she was holding on to will bring her secure future. And oftentimes, probably you and your family or even your friend's family experience that some of our father and mother are substance abuse, especially with the alcoholism. They couldn't bear that pain in them, but at the same time, with this cultural trauma and beliefs and value, they cannot express how difficult it is for them to survive day after day. And the only way that they can comfort it is by drinking. This generational trauma is affecting our children at home. And also there's another thing that is not only cultural in the family, but also is biologically and genetically related. That if we are not paying attention, we all, especially Christian circle, that they take their own blame. It's me. I'm a bad mom and bad father, so that I didn't raise my children well. Or vice versa, our children will blame our parents. They are not good enough to provide and meet my needs. So in psychology, again, part of the attachments, I want you to have a piece of paper. I want you to have some exercise with me right now. You can see that it's a genogram here. It's more of a family tree. So I want you to draw your family line so that you can understand about you, where you came from. Okay? Can you see that, your circle? Since you're all adult, okay? Since you are all adult, you are right there in the middle, like a little below from the middle, the you. You put that you, and if you are married, put your spouse, and going on, okay? And if you have a siblings, the branches, and then going down, your mom and dad, and your grandpa. Write it down. Any information that you know about them, the things that they've been struggling. For example, your mom often look very tired, not engaging with you. Just to put that little bit on next to you. My father is often not being present and drinking a lot, smoking a lot, yelling at me a lot, having some anger issues. You know, you can just kind of put that little bit over there, okay? But another thing that I also, yeah, I will use this. Yeah, okay. May I have a marker? So with the tree, I want you to also put that timeline here, okay? You put the tree, use it here, like that. So whatever the age that you are in here, the year that you were born. So for me, I will reveal my age now. So I was born in 1974. Okay, so I want you to put that, your age, the years, okay? My mother and my father was born 49. My grandma, my grandpa, I don't even know, but you know, early 19th, right? So I want you to put that and then you put it more on top, okay? So as you see here, Korean word is right here. So my grandma, grandpa here, that directly related to the Korean word. And my mom and my dad we're descendants of that. So it's almost coming out. It's almost refuge. That's the when America came to Korea really helped a lot to reestablish the nation, right? So again, I was born in the year that is a transformation was happening in Korea. And suddenly our economy was slowly building it up. Now we are here, 2022. I believe that South Korea is one of the top 10 or 20 economic status is in globally, right? Even Samsung is going everywhere, working in the AI and technology. But my parents directly experienced it, and then I am of that generations as well. So all our Korea's culture, education, economy status, or economy involvement is happening during that time. So the way I become who I am is all from that, the culture and society. But again, have that, and then I'll come back to this because we have to go over a little bit more. So now, through all this experience of our relationship with our parents, our friendship, our education, on top of that, for you, many of you were born in America. So now your parents already went through all this experience and generational trauma. It's something that we couldn't even imagine. Can you actually imagine that your parents went through the war and then right afterward is just surviving it? You and I cannot even imagine. Look at this hotel even. I'm cold with this AC. We're complaining this is too cold, too hot, but our parents didn't have a food, didn't have a shelter to survive. But with all this, the experience now, it builds and shapes how we think about ourselves. I'm not good enough because I am Asian. I'm not smart enough because I didn't go to some prestigious school. And then my feeling is going around with the way I'm thinking. And every memory that you remember, interactions with your parents and your friends, and even in a school, is now we're very selectively and subjectively remember according to the way we think, the way we believe about ourselves and others. Now, with all that, even you without intentional thinking, that now you behave. Sometimes we are avoiding. Sometimes we're fearful. Sometimes we're feeling sad. Sometimes we don't even want to try. Or sometimes you become a workaholic. It's all shaping in our brain and now in our body. With this, we are developing our relationship. So your choices of making your friends and your spouse or even your job is not coincidentally, it's just happening in that way. It's all shaped by our past. Okay, according to the attachment theory, this is good news actually. They came up with it. You know what? There's a good news. You don't have to leave the way you grew up. You didn't have to leave the way your attachment style from your own parents. But you can earn the secure attachment. According to the attachment theory, that often the way your attachment style with your parents, you will end it up in the same attachment style with your spouse. Okay? If you had anxious attachments from your parents, you will find anxious attachments with your husband and wife. Right? But if one caregiver in your life, whether it is mom and dad or many immigrants, actually our grandparents are raising our young children too, even if it's one grandparent, even if one teacher in your life became that secure attachment and giving you the safety, security, soothes you, and comforting you when you need it, and trust the relationship, that will help us earn that attachment so that we can rebuild. Because it's also connected to our brain, and neuroscientists is coming up with the research that Our brain is a plasticity. It's like a plastic that we can mold. You don't have to be the way you are, the way you behave, where you came from, but you can reshape. But it requires a lot of work. But the key factor is we have to find one person, at least one individual in your life to provide the secure attachment. Even in the couples therapy, okay, if someone who earned have this secure attachment, even if you ended up married to the person who are even disorganized, avoidant, anxious attachment type, within 5 years, you will adopt secure attachments from your spouse to become secure attached individual. Relationship is very important. Don't end up just going with whatever you feel and somebody give you, oh, lovey-dovey, all the sugar-coated words. But see, is this person securely attached? One way to actually measure if you are in a relationship is this person manage well with their anger and frustration. Is the best way to measure that. Is this a person to communicate their problem so that resolve the issues together with you? Then that person probably have earned or developed the secure attachment. It's a one person. It could be you too. You can be the person who are securely attached and provide your significant others to be securely attached so that your relationship can become a lot more flourish and helping each other to learn that. Okay, so research is mentioning that again. Don't have a lot of time. I will just go over that. If you really are interested in more in this topic, we had a long conversation on this in other workshop with the VAY. So ask Tammy, maybe you guys have more information and the video clip to watch on that. Again, one of the things that now we as adults, rather than the way my body and the way my mind remember about my past, now we have to use our reasoning to make sense of where I came from. Understanding our parents, their generational trauma. It wasn't their choice. It wasn't their issues, but the culture and then war and all that, especially on top of that, immigrated to here to give us a hope and have a better opportunity. They had to put what is more important. Probably it was you. And then finding another person, even in church and community, find somebody who can help you to process this together, rather than just believe the way you believe, as if you are the one is the problem. But your leaders and mentors and pastors can help you understand where we all came from. If a spiritual support and mentorship is not enough, if this is really too painful that you don't know what to do with this, please seek for help and professional help. And we have a couple of our professionals here, and then we will provide some consultation today. So take advantage of that. Again, this is more of an overall picture. If you want to take a picture, you can take a photo of this and then see how can I make sense of all my life circle and which way. Yeah, you will have a copy and slides. But I wanted to actually spend a little bit more my time. I have about a 10 minute now. I wanted to share what Christianity offers about this relationship. Yes, we have to understand where we came from. But why Christianity is the solution or answer that none of other religion or even theory of a psychology can offer is because of this. All our studies, okay, even this generation's social media and culture is telling us, you gotta do it. You have to find someone. What if I cannot find it? It's all on you. Even finding the secure attached individual, it seems like it's on you. You have to work really, really hard. But is that easy? It's not. It's not easy for us to constantly being mindful about and then managing and regulating my own emotion and thought and be objective about it. It's not easy. So all our upbringings, either it is whatever the culture that you grew up with it, either it's Asian culture or American culture, whatever the beliefs that you were educated from, every message that is telling us you have to earn it. You have to perform to receive. Even look at the attachment theory. But again, beautiful theory, right? The word earn. How can you earn it? It has to be based on your own performance. It's on you that you needed to find. But what gospel, the Christianity offer is you just receive. It's not based on what you needed to do. If you, based on your work and your performance, it will be hard and take forever to reach God. And oftentimes, it's not even promising. We fail. We have to go through constant incarnation, types of beliefs. If I don't do well, it will go to my kids. Now it's going through another guilt and shame and burden. But the Christianity is owning the beliefs, is telling you that God came down for you to be the figure to provide everything that you need. And he said, believe that and receive it. And you will become a child of God. Yes, our earthly parents couldn't provide all that. Yes, I couldn't grow. It wasn't my choice which country to born, or which parents that I could choose. But God chose me. But he said, I will. You receive it. And God sees you and me not through your performance, but it's through Jesus' performance. What he has done, and now we just receive. And you will have very, very, very secure a figure in your life, always be there for you. The King of heaven, our Creator, God, will be on your side. Receive. How can this blessing of the gospel be practical experience? Let me just share it with you. Have you ever heard about the grafting? How many of you know the what is it called? The agricultural science of grafting. Do you know that? Okay. So one of my way of relaxing my busy days is going to the vineyard. The California is a beautiful vineyard on the south coast, Solvang, and even Los Olivos and then Paso Robles and all the Sonoma Valley. When you go there, take a one class at least tour of that because it's beautiful of the grafting analogy. Grafting is the vine, right? The vine, the roots are there, but any branch, even dead branch, dry dead branch, if that is grafted to the main strong survived or rooted in that vine, that branch, wherever it came from, will become the white source of the vine. Does it make sense to you? Right? So even if I am that person, if I am grafted in a main vine, then I will become what the vine is giving me the life. So if you know the vine, if the branch was dead from the Pinot Noir, if that was grafted to the Cabernet, then it becomes the Cabernet. It is losing the original, the DNA of the dead body. Whatever the grafted into the main vine will become your main sources. It's a beautiful analogy that John chapter 15 is saying, I am the vine. Who's speaking? Jesus said, I am the vine and you are the branches. Even if that branches, whatever the culture, whatever the family that you came from, you will become part of me and you will bear much fruits. Let me use example of this genogram again. Okay? So I said, again, I don't have a lot of time, but through these issues, I believe my father never got diagnosed, but I think my father was alcoholic. Okay? My father was very quiet and then never be angry, but once he drinks, we cannot control him. And that's the way that he's actually coping his own emotions. Okay? Now my father. And then my mother was born in the family that she's the first daughter. Again, during this, right after the war, and she has to bring all the, the resources to feed her brothers. And she has to even give up her education to support her brother and sister's education. So she has this forever scar being a woman and first child because she has to sacrifice all. Okay? And then I have two brothers, one older and one younger. My family went through a traumatic experience because of my younger brother's medical incidents. So he was a healthy, young high school student and collapsed due to the heart issues. And then during the surgery, my brother became brain damaged severely that now he's living as a handicap. So all those problems we're going through, and then 1994 or 1991, I accepted Christ. And I didn't know the gravity of this good news, how it will turn out my life. What happened was, all my family issues, I couldn't handle it. Not that we didn't do wrong, not that we are not moral, not that we are not a good people, but just things keep happening. No matter how my mom and dad were trying, it didn't work. And then no one intended it to my younger brother to get sick like that during surgery. And then through all that, one day, again, around the 1991, the Jesus Christ who came to me and meeting where I was. And he said, Mijin, receive me. I know what you're going through. It seems very unbearable. But you know what? I want to be the Christ for you. Just accept me. I don't know what it was, but it was so believable at the moment for me that nothing was a matter. If there is somebody who loved me unconditionally and makes sense of all my past, what's going on in my family, I will accept whatever that is. I just received that. And since then, this Jesus Christ become my vine. It wasn't from my family, my culture of Korea, experience of a generational trauma due to the war, due to the issues of my father and my mother, wasn't no longer my issues anymore. My root is no longer of my family. And now Jesus became my vine. All the work that I do, the bearing fruits that I'm having is through Jesus Christ. I am grafted. Think about it. I am grafted is not by my performance. I didn't try so hard. Lord, please. And I'm near you. I'm going for you. Jesus came to me and met me where I was and said, you are grafted. And then I was looking back and thinking about it, how much of a faith that I needed to be grafted in that way. Not a lot. I just believed that Jesus is the Christ. That's it. That little, maybe 1% of my beliefs that Jesus is my vine and my Christ, that 1% of beliefs and acceptance and became my vine. My life is no longer based on my family. So now what's happening is now I'm going back to my own family, the resource of sharing grace, love that I receive from God. I'm not affected anymore, but I'm embracing and understanding where I came from and embracing my mom's pain and my father's pain. My father passed away. If I didn't know about this, I could have a lot of resentment in me that I will resentful of this world and the people and authority. But no, no longer. Now I am healed, not maybe 100%. Still, there's a remnants of those issues in me, but God is still giving me the resource and healing. So now, as a believer, and the branches is growing a little bit of a fruits, now I'm going back to my own community, my own hometown, my own family, people who hurt me. Now I'm going back to share the goodness of Jesus Christ. Because that was the transformation and change of my life. Why not for me to share that with them? The reason why I'm standing in front of you is because I want to share this testimony with you as well. Not because of my education. Yes, my education became my resource. That you all came here because it seems like there is some doctor title there. But the power that I wanted to share with you and then invite you to receive that Jesus is real. If we receive, now we can go back and change our culture with love and grace. We can rebuild our relationship with the love that we receive from God. That now I can love others in the same way that God accepted me. I may not be able to, but I will invite God and Jesus in their lives so that they can experience the same way that what I experienced.